Hello, good morning, happy Thursday. I've done a tiny bit of swapping for layout. I'm mirroring this screen over to the left, so I never actually need to look at it. And then I have this other screen over to the right, which is where I used to be able to look for chat. So I basically move my computer over to the left, but then put a monitor over to the right. So there's that. We'll see how it is. Camera I've got in the same place. Microphone, I didn't unplug it right before stream, so I want to see whether or not the arm was actually causing some problems with the cable. Because if that's the case, then I probably don't want to use that arm again. Or I need like a much longer cable that maybe it was like twisting it, or maybe it was pulling it. I don't know. I am not sure. But until then, this is what we're going to be playing with. We're going to be basically, this is, I'm mirroring this screen to my notebook. That is, I think I want to try to set, I want to set it to use this resolution if possible. So how do I do that? So I'm here for that one. Nope. That's not what I wanted. Wait, that mirrored everything. I want that not mirrored. Now nothing's mirrored. Hold on, I want built-in display and LG. No, that one's fine. I want that one mirrored. And then you remain like this. Okay. There we go. Okay. I think I dragged the wrong one on first when I did it. Okay, so now there's no more little box left and right. Now we can see the full thing. So perfect. Okay, so there's that. Then let's see what's next. Well, let's go find the course and sort of see if we can finish up the Hello World route, or at least go through it and sort of like see what we have. Okay, so Hello World and Axum objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to create a Hello World application in Axum and then refactor the Hello World application to use a better architecture. I'm using the word refactor here because it's super familiar. I know that there could be an argument that I should use rewrite. Maybe we should use like the more correct terminology. Rewrite the Hello World application to use a better architecture. Okay, so then we have a walkthrough. We'll begin by creating a new project with cargo new. So we show that and basically have code snippets for pretty much everything. So everywhere that I have this USC one, I don't need that. So I was doing this on my other profile and I realized I had spaceship, something ship that gave me this. I don't need that. Okay, so Code playgrounds, cargo new Axum hello world, creates the binary, and we're still in here. Okay, great. We'll start by putting everything in the main.rs file. At the beginning, all we have is the default hello world that prints to the console. So that's where we're starting with. We'll need a lot of async code, so we'll install Tokyo along with this macros features so that we can have main the main function be async. All right, so now I can just remove all of that. Okay, so we have Axum hello world. We have you. Actually, I don't even know if this is helpful. I think doing something like that would be more helpful. All right, so if we start with you, cargo add Tokyo with the feature RTI multi-thread and macros, updating crates, adding Tokyo. We can see what version that I have right here, and then features, and now those. Updating crates on index. Okay, Axum hello world. So I'm not doing any of that. If you added the Tokyo crate while your editor is still running, you may need to restart Rust Analyzer. Now we can make our main function async by using the Tokyo main macro. Okay, so we have our Tokyo main, async main. Okay, so basically I just updated that, made main async. We can now run async await code in the main function. Now we can maybe it's like now we're ready to add Axum to the project. We'll need the macros feature. So same thing. Cargo add Axum -f macros. So we add you. Next, we're going to do a few things, creating a router, address, and starting the server. The router is easy. We'll add the line let app equals router new to the top of main. I feel like I'm not getting full color, sort of colors added into this document. I feel I want to do that. I think I screwed it up with just saying here, do markdown. I think I was trying to get linting working for markdown. I think that was a good idea. So if I reload config, or am I gonna have to actually like fully restart? So we're around line 100. Okay, so we're using Marksman. It's from Homebrew. It's highlighting text queries. Okay, so maybe that'll be happy here. Nothing really changed here, so maybe not super happy. Or maybe this is just what I'm getting. All right. Not gonna worry about it too much. Okay, next we're gonna do a few things. Creating a router, address, and starting the server. The router is easy. We'll add the line, let app equals router new to the top of main. This router won't have any routes, so anything requesting it will always get a 404 error. For now. I guess like until we get those routes in. I guess like for now, I guess. After that, we'll create an address. With the line let address equals socket addr from 127.0.0.1 3000. The socket addr is from the standard net module. Finally, we'll put them together with okay, so Axum server bind, the address, serve, append to make service, await, unwrap. We could run our server with and then in ZSH. We have our cargo run. It compiles it. And then runs it. Our full main.rs code now looks like this. So then I have the full, basically the full code. However, there aren't any routes set up, so we can't get a hello world back quite yet. To create a route handler, we'll create an async function that returns a string at the bottom of the file. So let's actually go and sort of edit this and add it in. And I think I think I've been putting this into a playground. I don't have that playground over here, so we're gonna have to recreate this really quickly. All right, what did we call this? This was Axum. I want to make sure I name it the same thing. Axum Hello World. Can't save with no path set. Why is there no path set? Did I... Oh no. Okay, hold on. I need to actually do it to the file, not just the buffer, not just the scratch, like the file that doesn't have a file. All right, so we need Axum, we need Tokyo. I think we need the macros. Do we need anything with Axum? What did we say? Do we really need the macros feature? I'm not 100% certain we do. So I might come back and update that. Okay, so we got you. You're happy. We need a route added to this. Because a router doesn't do anything. So that's going to be our next, our hello world. So and we're going to add it to here. Guess we'll just go to slash. That'll be fine. Uh-oh, we're having problems. Okay, so I didn't try to restart the LSP, and I think that was a mistake. Okay, there we go. Now we're happy. Tomoroy, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so we've got use. Now I can start the server. Compiles all the things. We're running, and then if I we should now be able to hit it. So I can just do a curl to localhost. That oh right, it's port 3000, and we get that hello world. Okay, so to begin with, I don't think we need. I want to remove the tomahawk. Okay, I want to remove the. Oh, here. So this will just be fine then. I'll do it again. Okay, Axum without anything here gives me this. Okay, so there's add Tokyo, and then here is add Axum. Okay, so cargo add Axum. I basically can just throw you in here like that. Now you're using greater than symbols, I think. Oh, I hate when that happens. No, not to the end of the file. I meant to go to the end of the line. Wanted that. Okay, so there's that. All right, so you get changed. That. Oh, apparently these are different symbols. Okay, so Axum Hello World. I want to. Actually, I think well, I've just been doing the code, right? Yeah. Okay, so cargo at Axum, we do this stuff. And then you're done there. We won't need any features. Andrew, hello. How are you doing today? We are working on the Hello World lesson for Axum. All right, so to create a route handler, okay, so now I can do this. We have Rust. Let's go find that code here. Okay, so async function hello world. It's going to return a static stir and obviously hello world. We can register this as a route handler. You're doing okay? You just woke up? Well, that's good. Hopefully enough sleep. These days I don't feel like I ever get enough sleep. It's like I just wanna stay in bed all day sometimes. But then it's like, okay, let's get up. I'm confusing myself because I switched my my alarm to do bird song. And I'm super confused because it feels like it sounds like it's actually birdsong. Like actual birds are outside, but it's dark and there's no birds outside. And so like my brain is thinking like, am I just staying in bed and listening to the birds, or is that actually telling me to get up? Okay, so we can register this as route handler on the slash route. Adding a dot route. We'll do a path handler call to the okay, so now we have that. Okay, so we have a route handler that's added on here. It's currently all one line so far. Did we ever run the server? I don't think we ran the server, did we? Okay, so maybe I don't need to put that here. It's not that one. I want that full screens. That way I can. Okay, so I was just using. I'll just grab you to you. That was cargo add. That's not what I wanted. I want cargo run. That cargo run. I think then here it's. I'm fairly certain I can just go back and find those. Yeah, here's a bunch of compiling. Let's get the last two. Okay. A normal dev, hello. How much will be the course? So there's going to be a couple different, at least 2 price tiers that I'm sort of aware of right now. First, there's going to be the live course where it's going to be, okay, we're going to do this live. You're going to have access to me. We're going to do it probably like meeting every day or every other day for several weeks and go through the entire thing. That's going to be the most expensive one. I'm also planning on selling both like the full course just like on its own. So you don't necessarily have access to me, but you can work through it on your own at your own pace. And then you can just always ask for help on stream or in Discord. And then the final one would be breaking up pieces. So it's like, okay, routing. Okay, like, you know, basic parts of it, but not the entire thing. So those are all going to be different price points. So I'm thinking eventually, like my market research so far is showing that the full live course thing is being sold for between $400 and $600 per course in other areas. So I'm what I would probably do is for this version, because it's MVP, is say like, hey, this is like $500 course slash to $100 for the live course, and then it's going to get cheaper from there for the, you know, okay, you want to buy the course but not have it be live. I don't know, like normally $100 slash to something else. You want just like pieces of it, normally $20 slash something else. I don't know. I haven't figured out pricing exactly yet. So those are where I'm starting right now, and then it's possible to change. And then I also want, I control the pricing, and it's mine. So I have the ability to just give some of them away for free if I want. So it's not, I'm not beholden to like anything where I have to sell X amount at full price or something else, which I'm really happy about. What I'm focusing on here is going to be that live thing. That's I've heard in business parlance this is called the beachhead. That's the thing that would make it the most. Maybe you can give some teaser for free. Well, in some ways, I'm sort of expecting that this like live streams of me creating these is kind of a teaser, because you can see the content being created, and I'm also going to I'm also creating a bunch of videos for it here. So I think the thing though is that the free tier is like you have to dig through the live stream VODs to see that, or you have to be here. One of those two. But it's not like you can't ask questions. I'm totally happy to do that. You should clip parts of your live streams and put them on TikTok as a funnel. I could, and then I'd have to install TikTok and do anything with it at all. I have successfully not done anything with TikTok so far. I don't know, like I see some TikToks that are like shared to me through other social medias, and then I don't know, I haven't really seen much. Like, is there some like non-coding stuff, or is there coding stuff on there? The only things that I've ever seen on TikTok are like skits. Or like comedy stuff. Oh yeah, you get a fair amount of dev content? Interesting. I will have to make a note of that. So let me do that now. Guess I'll create a new to-do thing. So this is look into TikTok, which of course autocomplete doesn't know what it is. TikTok for marketing. So I'll definitely look into it. Okay. There are also a lot of programming YouTube shorts. YouTube shorts, I think, might be a good idea. I'm already on here figuring out. So something I'm not very good at is figuring out which part to do the YouTube short of to make it interesting. Because I don't want like a short to be put in front of somebody and just have it be really boring. So there's that. And I've done like one or two shorts before, but they've always been, I just did them as sort of like little halfway funny stuff. I don't know how good they actually were. I never got that many views on them. But all right, let's see. Andrew, you still do not understand why specify the IP address when then starting server. It can't change. It's IP address by itself. It's done by the router, or you're getting it wrong. So this is you're talking about this line right here, right, where we're setting the IP address and then we're starting the server. So this is super common in a lot of backend applications. As we set what this IP address is going to be, it's serving on localhost. Okay, so yeah, oftentimes, especially these days, we're going to serve on localhost. That being said, it is important for us to differentiate between, do we want to start on localhost like 127.0.0.1, or do we want to start on 0.0.0.0, which can be really important. If I want to put this into like a Docker container, we need to bind this to 0.0.0.0 so it actually listens to, like, it actually knows how to like escape and, you know, properly get out. Otherwise, it's not in the right spot. So that's why they allow us to do this. There's It's also possible that you might deploy this to something and they tell you, okay, serve it on this specific IP address. Like don't serve to localhost. We have some like internal DNS shenanigans going on and we'll listen over here. You were working on starting a direct-to-consumer whole life insurance startup a year or two ago, and TikTok did wonders on your ad A/B testing. The nice thing about YouTube Shorts is you can use the same content for Shorts, IG Reels, and TikTok. That is true. That is true. I think the big thing that's been overwhelming to me is figuring out what that content is. Can one device have multiple IPs? Yes, you can. So now if you do something beyond just localhost here, you're probably going to need some kind of DNS server for this. But if you're running in like sort of an enterprise environment, you're most likely going to have an internal DNS server of some kind. And you'll be able to set up like a single server to do that. Now, to be honest, this is not done very much anymore. These days, we just virtualize everything, and each sort of virtualized system, and I'm using virtualized in a very broad terminology here. It basically can be a VPS, or it could be a Docker image or instance. And I know that there's like big differences between those two, but like as far as our code is concerned, not really, right? It's in each one of those, then it can just be probably 0000 port 3000. Everybody thinks they're on port 3000. They're on the same machine, and some system is basically making sure they're all running. And then you can have something like Nginx redirecting to each of those instances that's running. So yeah, I think it's mostly historical that you would never need it to be other than either 127.0.0.1 or 0.0.0.0. But because there's a chance that it's needed, they have to add this in. Yeah, I'll add in YouTube Shorts for thinking about this. YouTube Shorts. Can one device have multiple IPs? Are we talking about, I guess like the other thing that I wasn't thinking of when answering that question, are we talking about like one device have multiple servers running on one IPs, or one device have multiple IPs like to the internet? Because the answer is for both, yes. You can have multiple IPs if you have multiple network cards. And back in the old days, I don't know how often it's done anymore, you could, and it was fairly common to install multiple Ethernet cards into your system. And of course, these days you might have like Wi-Fi attached to a server, maybe, possibly. In which case, each one of those interfaces is an IP address that you'd have access to. It wouldn't be one IP address for like, both network cards. But usually you don't want to care that much about the IP address itself. So like as the server, you're basically saying, okay, I'm coming in on this DNS name. And based upon which DNS name it is, I want to route to this server over here. So you can use Nginx and say, okay, if we're coming to brooksbuilds.com, I want to go to redirect all that traffic to localhost port 3000. If, however, it's maybe, I don't know, like twitch.tv, that's to the same computer, or the same server, I want to redirect it to localhost 3001. And that's how you can have like multiple servers running on the same system. that's doing vastly different work. It's even weirder. A framework allows you to pass string in address. Don't most of them do that, right? What does Express do? Express does that, right? Oh, with this one, it's so with Express, it's localhost by default. So this one sort of like follows with what you're talking about, Andrew, which is it's localhost by default, and then you can override it, I believe. I believe it's possible to override it. Probably not the router. It's like what would it? It's like app.run or something. I know there's a way to maybe address. Like trust proxy stuff. I'm not sure that's exactly what it is. That's interesting. It takes an array, a string, an array of strings, just an array of numbers. That's that's interesting. Or a word. It just takes a word too, like localhost. You wonder when to pass if IP6. You can't try yourself. Yeah, I don't have IP6 set up on my local network either. And I've not yet worked on anything that uses IP6. When I was a sysadmin, we had to upgrade all of our servers to handle IP6, and I don't think they were ever used. Like we did everything to like update all of our local and like so internal network and external network to handle it. And there was a big concern back when I was just getting started out that like, okay, we're seriously going to run out of IPv4 addresses. And so we need to like deal with this now. And so they pushed like IPv6. IPv5 had like started and dropped and it was abandoned and reasons. IPv6 was not super great, but included like would add billions of IP addresses. And so it's like, okay, we got to do this now. IoT is coming along. We got to do all this stuff. And then things. I just got a weird error showing up on my Windows computer, which, I think it's from Docker. No, you don't do anything. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is true, where if I remember correctly, this is the syntax in IPv6 to say localhost. And what port on localhost to do. It's IPv6 is so strange, and I don't know if it's ever going to get real adoption because there's no need for it anymore. Like the entire need, like everybody figured out how to deal with IPv4 without doing that. Well, okay. There's need and like whether or not it's gonna happen. I don't know. It's like it was such a big deal for so long, and like everyone in network world was really freaking out. Like mainstream news picked up on it, was talking about IPv6, and then it just didn't. Like then just things happened. It didn't become a problem anymore. They have regex and express. Or you're talking about this type stuff? Well, these are path patterns. So yes, they do. I don't think they have this in Axum, but I don't remember. I'd have to look again. I've never done anything like this in any server ever. Like the closest you usually do would be a star. Just like a star like this. All right, so we have, okay, so we run our project. Maybe I could show that it's just like an empty line here. And then, so we come down here and we can now hit, let's see. We can now hit the server, sever. We can now hit the server with a get request to slash port 3000 to get our hello world. I'll use curl here, but any HTTP tool like Postman or what's the other one that I was recommending? It's light thunder client. Thunder client will work. We can actually have this in here. Okay, so we have that. That gives us our hello world. We now have a server running now. Now we're factoring time. Rewriting time. Rewriting to a better architecture. Interesting fact, curl stands for clang plus URL, but they have Rust in source now. I didn't realize they had Rust in curl anymore nowadays. I know it's been updated a few times, and it has a very like long-standing group of people who have been like updating it and taking over. I actually listened to a podcast from somebody who had taken over for curl. I didn't realize that it was clang plus URL. I guess like back then, that's what it was made in. That's nice. Curl is such a like, curl is one of those things where if you don't know how to use curl, you don't have to learn like very much of it. Just learn how to make basic GET requests from it, and it just makes things really easy. Like you don't You don't need to learn how to do like special post requests with JSON bodies. Don't worry about all that. Just learn how to do basic GET requests and take the resulting output and like stuff it into a file or do something like that. Super helpful if you ever need to do a GET request on a server that you don't have a GUI into. You don't have to like pull something down locally and then like push it to the server. You can just get it from there directly. Oh, there's talk at a Rust conference from Curl Creator and how they added it. Nice. I think I must have missed that one. I've seen many of the talks from various Rust conferences, but not all of them. I think I missed a few years. All right, rewriting to a better architecture. All right, let's break things out into their own files to give us room to grow. All right, how do I want to do this? Normally, what I do is we'll have the address stuff being created in like a config on like a conf. So maybe we should do this. Like we'll start by pulling address out and we'll put that into the server. So we'll start by pulling the address out the main. I think it's, yeah, each one is 0 through 255, so that's U8. I want 4 of them. We're gonna have port, which is gonna be a U16. Then we'll impulse server. Okay, so we have that. You're yelling, so let's generate default. Okay, so you're happy there. All right, we'll start by pulling the address out of main and put it into a server struct in lib.rs. We're creating a new impl For this struct, and defining what the address is here. In the future, if we need to set the address and port through an environment variable, this can be done here. Clippy yelled at me till I also created a default until I let it. Create a default function which just calls the new function. Okay, so then we have this. Okay, so we have you, and now we can use this and start using this new server struct in main. Okay, so we don't need this address anymore, but let's go ahead and set this up here. So we're going to do let server equals server new. Okay, so we have you. Okay. Now, so we have address. Next is to create a router. So okay, so I like to have a folder for the router and a file for each route handler. Or at least, I mean, yeah, I think I like to have a file for each route handler. This can be sort of like expanded to a directory. I guess like a folder to nested folders for more complex routing needs. Our file system is sort of like a file structure here. Structure will look like, not exactly sure what this is gonna, I guess this is gonna be CSH, and I'll show like a tree. So I guess we'll start with routes, touch, mod address, and then hello world address. Did I name it tree? It's not tree. It's oh, LT. That's what we named it. Okay, so in LT we can see I wonder if I should reverse this, because this might be confusing to most people looking at this. Maybe I'll have to get feedback on it from people, and that'll be fairly easy for us to change. Okay, so this will change this around. This will be the folder structure we have. We'll need to add mod statements to all the to the lib I guess, like, so Rust and Rust Analyzer, like the compiler and Rust Analyzer. Okay, so let's do so on top of lib, we're going to create a mod routes. Oh, it's // right? Okay, so we have mod routes, and then we want to do this again. I don't think we need to pub this. I think I can just get away with another mod. Hello world, and this will be the routes mod rs file. Okay. Okay, so now we can pull out that other file. So we can go to main. I want to pull this out. I'm going to delete you. Go to hello world, paste you in, and then you need to be public. So this is gonna be a pub async function like that. And that's it. So note that I'm making this hello world. Okay, so then we have our hello world. We're making that public. Okay, so maybe for that, we'll then do it's time for us to create a create routes function. We don't need to make this asynchronous. We don't need this make async. Even though there is a lot, even though there are async functions being handled in it. Okay, we're doing this in, okay, so I did save you, right? We're doing this in routes mod. So we have you. So we're gonna do a pub function create router. We're not gonna take anything in, and we're gonna turn a router. And essentially this becomes the thing that we did before. We're gonna do new router. What language am I using? Do router new route slash get this is gonna be that hello world. We're returning that, and then I need to, I personally like to have my use statements below the mod. Okay, so we're going to use that, and we're going to use a world. Okay, so that should be fine now. Okay, so now we've created the create. The create router function. Okay. Now we can bring in So we can call the create router function from inside lib.rs and remove guys. Okay, so now we can call the create router function from inside lib.rs and have lib.rs. I guess we'll just do something like that. And we do this, oh, I want a run function. So I don't need the router up here. I need the router in this. So we're gonna do a pub function run. We're not gonna take anything in. Oh, we are gonna take something. We're gonna take in a reference to self. And that's it. And we do need to return a result eventually, but let's not do that right this second. So we're gonna do a let. We'll just do this, let app equals why can't you find it? What? What did I do? I have pub create router. So pub function create router. You should be happy, right? So routes create router. Cool. Nice. Normally, if you're not getting any help, it's because there's a massive problem. But no, it's does something get added into here? Not that I see. All right, so what we really need is, okay, so now we can maybe it's like before. Okay, before we can call the create router function from inside lib.rs, we need to create a new function, run. Oh, this will have to be async. So this will be an async function, and it's a method on the struct, so it will also take self. All right, so let's copy this. Okay, so we have our impulse server, we have that new function here, but now we have this run function. And then we're calling create router from in here. Great, perfect. Now that we have run, I believe we can call run. I don't know if we want to call run yet. So we have the router, we have this address and port. Okay, so now it's time for us to create the socket address. Is it adder? I think it's a socket adder. Yeah, socket adder. Okay, so I think we're using that one. So socket adder from, it's going to be a tuple with self.address and self.port. And that's it. So that makes it a lot simpler. I guess there's not at finally yet. So now we can run so now we can start the server from the run function. Since this is an async commands, we'll need to convert run to be an async function. All right. Something I'm terrible at is I want to trim to like this. Not sure how to select around. It selects that in two. It's not what I want. Just do that to match surround that. Async function. Okay. What about Axum 0.7? Will you migrate cores to it once it's done? Yes, absolutely. And I'm doing this in sort of like an article format because I don't know which parts of Rust 0.7 are going to be needed. So, hi, want to join? Want to say hi? Okay, you don't want to say hi for long. Yeah, so the plan is, the hope is that not everything changes. So that way I can basically update small parts of it. If it's a huge big change, I may have to create a new course for 0.7. And it's like if somebody like were to purchase like 0.6 and 0.7 came in and like just changed everything, I probably would just give everybody 0.7 for free. You've already paid for like, one Axum course. Some like big change that happens like within a short period of time should not require a new purchase. Or after like enough time passes, like once we're at 1.0 and like maybe like 2 years later or a year later, like 1.5 comes out and changes everything, that might be like, okay, we'll give you a discount on upgrading, but it's a completely new thing and you've had it for a while, so that's good. Hello World definitely changes. Yeah, I'm imagining that a lot of it's going to change. We're still early on in Axum, so like every change is like pretty big right now. Yeah. Aridas, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so now this will have to be an async function, and then we run the actual thing, right? So it's going to be Axum server. We bind the address. And then we serve the app dot into make service. Why are you? I async this, right? Or I wait it? Okay, why are you upset? Why aren't you telling me what type you are? This is also concerning. Okay, so we do Axum server bind, we do that, we serve into make service, that does its thing. Yes, okay. And then I want to, isn't bind, yeah, okay, there we go. Then we wait and we unwrap. There we go. Okay, so I just started writing it too early or something. Great. So that should now work. Okay, so this allows me to come back into main, and I don't need this app here. I don't need this address here. We have the server run there, and I don't need this because we're done there. So now this will just be server run like that. I guess, oh wait. I know. It's unwrapped for now. We're gonna change that. I'm slowly getting there. Something that I've disliked in other sort of like written tutorials or courses that I've done in the past, it's really easy to get lost with all the changes. So I want to make them like small changes that are incremental that you can very easily follow and move through. So that's the plan here. Okay, so now we can start the server from the run functions. This is an async command. We'll need to convert run to be an async function. Okay, so you have Rust here like that. Go back to the library. Okay, so now you are this. The other thing that I'm doing here is I'm making sure I show this full function every time, because most tutorials I see online would only show like this line that changed. And for me, I don't know about all of you, for me, I get lost. I'm like, where does that go in the entire function again? Or the entire file? I'm lost. And if you get lost in something like this, it's extremely hard to like get found again. Okay, so we have that, and now we can clean up the main.rs file and start the server. Start the server. Now I think at this point everything works as expected, right? So we can do a cargo run, and we're still good. So main.rs now looks like this. I need to set up cat camp so you could see Zilby. I've got him, I put I put his favorite sort of like scratch pad type thing on top of the desk over here, and he does like lying on it. I also put a like we use like really old shirts for his bed upstairs in his nest, and so I brought one down here to sort of see if he'd like lying on that more. It's like, nope, scratch pad it is. He's always loved those as his like, he probably, if he could use that as a bed, he probably would. So yeah, I have the camera literally here, but it's not plugged into anything. So that's something I need to deal with. Okay, now we can clean up main Rust file and start the server. Running the server now gives us some error, some warnings, but should work. Okay. So, next thing before the warnings, let's add in. I guess we could do. Now we can get rid of the we can get rid of the warnings, I guess. Can clean up the warnings by removing the unused, I guess, use statements. This leaves main rs looking like all right, so let's double check. Yeah, everything here is at this point, so I can get rid of you, get rid of you, and that's it. No warnings across the entirety of the system anymore, so we're good to go. So you look like that now. Okay, great. We have one final thing. We have one final thing we want to add in. Proper error handling for the serve function. You don't want to have an unwrap if possible. King, hello. How are you doing? Things are going pretty good now. Am I using Rust on a daily basis now? Unfortunately, the only way that I could claim that I'm using Rust on a daily basis is because I stream here on an almost daily basis. So this is pretty much the only time that I use Rust. I am not using it at my day job. That's that'd be a bit much. I offered to, so I have one person on my team who's a web developer, and I asked, like, I basically offered and said, like, hey, if you want to learn Rust, I'm happy to teach you. And he said that someday he might take me up on that, but I'm not going to force it. It's, we're too small of a company. We couldn't afford Rust developers, right now. So like switching over would be a terrible idea, for a few different reasons. So that's where we are right now with that. Maybe someday, or maybe one day I'll just switch to this full time and I can of course say, yes, I use Rust every day professionally. Okay, so we have the final thing. All right, so do this, we'll need to turn a result from the run function in lib.rs. I prefer to use a error handling library called error. Let's go grab that. But a great alternative that can be used is a great, I guess like a great popular alternative is anyhow. Error is a drop-in replacement for anyhow. So their uses are exactly the same. Let's see. You know, you can enable displaying line indentations in Helix. Am I not doing that? Or like in indentations instead of spaces? I think they actually are turning into real weird spaces. King, weird package name? Oh, you mean like Axum Hello World? Or this one here? Yeah, it's I'm literally calling it Axum Hello World. I'm naming the package basically the same as, like, you know, the article title. Anyhow, yeah, the air handling ones are a little bit interesting. Air is great. I love air for several different reasons, one of which is that the author loves puns and puts puns into everything. No, I don't believe Air and Anyhow are made by the same person. So Anyhow here is made by David Tolnay, and then Air is made by Jane Losar Lesby, and she loves puns, and so I think she decided on Air because Air, in order to like add in, all right, so it's, you know, EYRE, so it's kind of, you know, spelled differently than just Air, so it works. But then also she has Jane Eyre, and the entire thing is multi-level puns, sort of like very subtle puns all the way down. Which just works. Totolne have most changes in the Air repo. Oh, are you talking about for Totolne, who wrote the Serde crate, right? Has the most changes in the Air repo. Yeah, I guess there's I think like cross sort of working like contributors to it. I haven't looked at that, but yeah, I like Air. There's also, Jane gave a really great Rust conference talk a few years ago, and I remember watching that live and just sort of like that really got me into like, oh, okay, these type of error handling is really good. So I'm using that. So first off, we'll require in, like we'll switch from using the standard result to the one provided by here. Oh, and anyhow. Nice. All right, so first off, we'll switch from using the standard result to the one provided by error. That's going to be, we can do this by simply I guess like by adding well, you know what? First, need to do this. Go add error. Okay, so we cargo add error. Let's see. So then once we have that, don't forget we need to restart our LSP until we get the new version of Helix. Then so we'll switch from using the standard result to the one provided by error. We can do this by adding, all right, so now here, I'm gonna go to lib, and let's add in the use error result. What did that? Was my cursor back there? Oh, my cursor wasn't in interactive mode. That's what's going on. We'll adding use error results at the top of the file of the lib.rs file. Now we can use the result to turn the server from the, I guess like we can use the return as the, so use the result as the return value and the run function. Note that this result only takes a single value, a single type. So we have run. All right, so results like that. And then we don't really need to return anything from here. There's nothing for us to return really on success. So since isn't anything to return on success. We're going to set the turn type to that. Then don't forget to okay, so I guess like don't forget to return the end of the function. All right, so we have Rust. All right, so let's take the entire function. We'll show this off. So I need to not forget this. We're gonna do okay like that. That'll make you happy. Main is gonna be a little bit upset. Okay, so we have you. All right, and finally, so now we can replace that unwrap with a question mark. Let's with a question mark and make main.rs handle the error. All right, so unwrap, you get changed to a question mark like that. So you get added to a wait. Once again, now you we'll just do that. Oh, what did I do there? Did I like come? I have no idea what I did. I like made it all one line. I have no idea what keyword combination I did for that. I think it was like pressing escape and then some other key, but maybe I did shift and some other key. Okay, so that handles and pushes the air up. We're good. There's no warnings. Okay, so finally we need to go to main. All right, so finally we need to update main to handle this results coming from the run function. Yes, where is such a keyword? For like the thing that I made it all one letter, or something else. I might have missed that. All right, so finally we need to update. I guess we'll do this and us to handle this result coming from the run function. I guess like, okay, so the crash can happen for a couple different reasons, but mostly when the server is like exiting. Oh, the J joins lines inside a selection. Wait, really? So if I had, so oh, does that put I don't even have it selected. That puts address on here. So it's this one and the next one. And if I put them all together like that, it puts it all in one line, which is definitely not something I want to do. Okay, that's good to know that I can do that. I don't know when I'd ever want to do that. Usually I want to break things out further. Okay, finally we need to update main errors to handle this result coming from the main function. I guess like the okay and error variant, is it variant or variant? Maybe we'll just do arms because that is, I think arms is what Rust Analyzer uses when it's telling you, hey, you don't have all the arms for match. Select this. We'll just do arms. So the OK and air arms will only be like be filled, or the result will only be fulfilled. Maybe the result will only be fulfilled. If the server crashes or otherwise, or is shut down. Oh, I somehow I went up and then I did up there. That's not where I wanted to go. Okay. All right, so we're going to match server to run, await. So we'll have code actions that doesn't know what to do with this. So we're gonna do okay. With nothing in this. And we could just do a print line saying server exited. Then we have error with our error inside. Do a multiline, so we'll do an ePrint line. Server exited with error. And then, I mean, we're crashing anyways, but I do want to make sure that we know that we're crashing. So let's do, I think a panic at this point in time is a good idea. So panic. And I think that's okay. So now if there's a problem, which I don't think there's going to be I don't actually know how to force a problem to happen at the server. Oh, I could. Maybe set port to 0 or something like that. I'm trying to think because the type, I can't not hand it an address because we got type safety for that. Basically, the type safety will protect me from a lot of things here that it won't even get to the server crashing. I think the server can crash from a few other things, and usually then we just have this sort of show up. So, okay. All right. So then we'll just panic out there. So that way it's not a. If I panic, that's not a 0 exit code, right? Oh, I can probably just panic. Panic goes to the error, right? Okay. If the made thread panics, it will terminate all your threads and end your program with the code 101. Okay, so I'm also curious, will the panic does panic exit the code? Okay, so I can just throw like maybe a panic in here. So panic hi there. Okay. So yes, I know nothing's gonna work. Everything's gonna be terrible. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna do cargo run. And you panicked. Okay, so that's cool. What is our exit code is 101. Okay, so that's set to that. And then finally, the other thing is, let's say I want to handle the error output. So standard, like not standard out, but error out. And we put this under like, I don't know, error log. Okay, so that then puts that into an error log. Okay, so we could just do panic instead of ePrint line. So okay, so I can get rid of you. I can get rid of you. So we're going to just panic. I'm going to say error server exit with error. Okay, so I think that's gonna work. Okay, so finally we need to update main Rust to handle this result coming from the run function. The result will only be fulfilled if the server crashes or is shut down. In the event of an error, we want to panic, which will set the return code to be not 0, a success as far as most Linux-like systems are concerned. The panic macro will allow us to print a message to standard error and set the return code to 101 for us. Joey, hello. Do you see documentation? Sort of, kind of, but not really. So this is more of like a course article. So it's more of a tutorial than documentation. But I guess it's similar because documentation is written in Markdown in Rust at least. Rumil, hello. How are you both doing today? Hello and happy coding. Happy coding indeed. We're getting like a lot done today, so I'm happy about that. All right, so the panic macro will allow us to print a message to standard error and set the return code to 101 for us. All right, so then we have all this. So let's go ahead and grab you. And we've got that. Okay, so we now have the main is updated to handle the error and print that out. Awesome. That's great to hear, Rumil. And that's it. So that's it. We can run our code again and verify that everything is still working as expected. And it is working still as expected, right? So cargo run. And we have our curl. So there's that. Everything is working as expected. We have done hello world, like this is the hello world sort of lesson. So excellent. All right, so there's that. This should, let's see, come back to here. So that's this one right here. We can mark the article as written, which I know it's about the same color, so that's not all that fun. Hello world without a new line. True, yes, it is hello world without a new line, but that's okay. There's no need to like make hello world better. It's usually use hello world as like a starting point to like then return everything else. Okay, so we do that, and then what is this from? There's no assessment there. I don't know what you are needed for. Okay, so we have that. So then a video would be next to create. So it's 8 o'clock. We have a little bit of time. So I could either do that, or I could risk crashing OBS and try to set up ZilbyCam. One of those two is possible. I don't think I have time for both. At least not finishing the video. I don't think it will take 45 minutes, but it might take half an hour or so. Maybe only take 15 minutes. I don't know. Let's do the video first. That way, if it crashes OBS and we have time, we'll do that at the very end. So let's let's move all of these things off to the side. Close up Firefox. I just have a new window in case I need that. Let's bring up iTerms since we're starting a new thing over here, and I don't want to confuse people with Alacrity or Helix. We're using VS Code for this. Okay, so I'll create a new Hello World app for that. I think we're good to go. Or Zellage. Yes, I want to confuse like people with Zellage. Maybe one day I'll be able to do those in my videos. I think for like the beginning, I have no idea how many people are going to be like sort of going into these courses that have never seen me for anything. So we're going to use VS Code for this course. And maybe in the future I can encourage more CLI usage with Zellage and Alacrity and Helix and all that fun stuff. Someday. All right, and then objectives for this is going to be, I have this at the top, so create a Hello World application Axum and then rewrite that to use better architecture. And then we just went through all that stuff again. So what is the chance that I'll be able to get through this with one take? So far, I have not been very good with one takes. And I need to remember I have like a hello world in there, so I can't name it the exact thing. I can't name, let's at least switch to, let's go to code playgrounds. So here is that I have Axum hello world. Maybe I'll just call this hello world because I don't have anything else in there for that, so we'll be fine. We have Leah's version of Rust. We verified that. Do I need any? Okay, let's open up VS Code, make sure that's up to date. Sure, install that so you'd stop popping up all the time. Okay, so we have that. You're not yelling at me. Okay, none of you are yelling at me about that. So okay, we're probably okay. So we'll close that up. We'll be in Playground, and our objectives are to create a hello world and then refactor that hello world. And then I'm going to turn off audio, music, and turn off the alerts. And I think we're good to go. I'll turn down the speakers here just in case. And I don't have anything else, so we are good to go. Let's see how this goes. All right, recording time. So if you haven't been here for recording, when I'm doing one of these recordings, I do not directly interact with chat. If you have any questions, absolutely, please ask them in chat. If I can, I'll sort of try to integrate it into the video. Otherwise, I'll answer them as soon as I'm done here. And see, I just realized I have a message. Oh, King, yeah, I'm private messages to Discord, like I'm always like offline there. So I don't even know if I don't remember if I have private messages there. Oh, I could pin a message. You know what? There was something I could do. I can use Nightbot. I have a timer for this. So I can enable recording video. Yeah, so oh, that's not a command though. Do I have any commands? I don't have any. Okay, let's do another command. So recording. The message would be Fix is recording a video. If you have any questions, please ask. He'll back to you. He'll try to answer after the recording is finished. All right, so there's that. User level, everyone. Cool down. Minimum amount of time before the command is used after it's used. I don't know. Whoa, what happened? Oh, come on. I accidentally clicked outside the window and it deleted everything. Okay, let's try this again. Recording. Okay, so everyone can do it. Cool down. I'll do it like every once a minute. It can be done. No aliases. Submit that. Okay, so now we can do bang recording. And also, I think I just turned on the timer so that way every 5 minutes, every 5 minutes and a minimum of 2 messages, this like a similar message will pop up too. So perfect. All right, then I think we are about ready. Then let's jump into it and see how it goes. All right, let's jump into some coding and we'll get a Axum server going. In this lesson, our objectives are going to be to create a Hello World app with Axum and then rewrite that server to still be Hello World, but be in a better architecture that's going to allow us to sort of expand that to something that, you know, works better in the future. So let's get going from scratch. So here I have my terminal. I'm in a playground folder, which is where I put just sort of my scratch code that I'm not necessarily going to put on GitHub. And we're just going to build something out here. So we're going to do a cargo. I have the latest version of Rust as of August 31st, 2023, which I think is, let's find out. Step updates. So we've got Rust 1.72. All right, we're gonna do a cargo new. Let's call this Hello World. All right, we're gonna go into Hello World and we're gonna open up code. And yes, I trust the author of this. All right, so what do we want to do here? Well, first off, we're going to want to be able to turn this main function into an async function. Let's go ahead and install Tokyo for this. So cargo add Tokyo. Now, if I do that, it has several of these features that are showing out for us, and we want to be able to do basically a macro up here to turn the main function into an async function. And that means we want the macros and we want this RT multi-thread. So those are the 2 features we want. So let's rerun this again. We'll do -f macros and then have to do another -f, one for each feature that we're doing. So RT multi-thread. All right, so that means now, Rust Analyzer is sort of rebuilt for us, so we're fine. So we can now up here. There we go. I want to use Tokyo. I have to remember I have to use tab for that. So Tokyo is going to be main. And now it's going to yell at us until we do an async for main here. Okay, so we have an async function now. All right, so we're probably not going to want a print line. We're going to want something more to do with Axum in here, but in order to do anything with Axum, we're going to need Axum. So let's go ahead and get that installed next. So we're going to do a cargo add Axum. I don't believe we're going to need any features for this for at least a hello world. What do we need to sort of get going here? Well, we need a router set up. So we're going to do a let. Let's name sort of like the router result. Like the router is gonna be held in something. I'm just gonna call it app here. So app equals router. Use from Axum router. Okay, so router new. I'm not going to add any routes to it. So it will mean that there's not really any usefulness with this server right away, but I do want to be able to get to the point where we can start the server as quickly as possible. So I'm going to create the router. Now notice it doesn't know what this is. As soon as we use it, it will figure out what type this router is. Next up, we need an address. So we're going to have an address. This is going to be a socket adder. So socket. Now we don't want to use the socket adder v4. We want to use this one right here, which is the socket adder from standard net socket adder. And we're going to do a from, and then this takes a tuple type. Now the tuple type is two things in here. One is the IP address that we're, well, serving on. So that's going to be just a hard-coded array. And we're going to make this 127.0.0.1. This can be pretty much any value we want. The only values that I've ever used in this is 127.0.0.1 for localhost, and then also 0.0.0.0, which sometimes you need to bind really to the server if you're hosting this in like Docker container or something. And the second thing in this this tuple is going to be the port we're going to run the server on. I'm going to run this on port 3000. All right, so we have that. Now we should be able to actually like sort of set up and run the server. So we're going to find that in Axum, the server module. We want to bind a reference to the address, and then we can serve. And then it wants this make service, which we get from app. So we can do app into make service. Now this returns an async code, so we have to await it. And then that itself is a result. So we're going to, at this point in time, let's just go ahead and unwrap it. And we'll deal with this and make this better later. Okay, so this should allow us to run the server. Let's go ahead and try it. We're going to do a cargo run. We compile everything that we need to. And oh, I already have something running on the server in another window. Let me go ahead and turn that off. And let's try this again. There we go. Okay, so we're running. We don't have any messages here because we don't have any sort of logging set up for it to tell us like, hey, the server's up and running. The fact that it's just sort of sitting here is exactly what we expect it to be. Now, obviously we don't have a hello world set up yet, so let's do that now. We're just sort of starting with everything in main. So let's create we need this to be an async function. So an async function, I'm going to call this hello world. We don't have to take anything in. We're just going to return a static string. So we can actually just return a static str. And this static str is going to be hello world. Exactly like that. To use this, we're going to add it to our router. So in new here, I'm going to do a route. It asks us for a path. So I'm going to just put this at slash. We can also put this at like maybe slash hello world. Wherever we put it is where we have to then hit for, to get the hello world back. So at slash, I only have to hit localhost port 3000. If I went to slash hello world, I have to go to localhost port 3000 slash hello world. And then the method router. So this is going to be basically the function itself. So I'm going to put in hello world. Note, I don't put parentheses on these functions because I don't want to call this function at this point when it compiles or when it runs. I want to have this function be called when the route is hit. So we just basically say, here is the function itself. Don't run it yet, run it later. All right, so you're upset. You need, oh, right. I completely forgot. We don't put this function in here like this. We put it inside of some kind of like to tell it what type of route this is going to be. I want this to be a GET request. So we want to get, it knows to find this from Axum routing get. And now I can put in hello world inside of here. There we go. Okay, so now we're happy. Let's go ahead and open up our terminal again. I will leave this down here so you can see all the code. Let's open up another sort of tab over here. I do need to, for it to see this change, I need to restart my code. So I'm going to Control C, cargo run that again. And then if I want to actually hit this, we have Thunder Client here. So let's go ahead and create a new request. We're going to do a get to HTTP // port 3000. We're not going anywhere else. I don't have to set up anything else. We're just going to hit and we get the hello world back. Okay, exactly as well we expected. We got a hello world. All right. Well, this is good for a hello world, but I wouldn't want to like start adding more route handlers to this. Everything's all in the main function. It's not exactly what I would say is like extensible as a project. So let's go ahead and rewrite it so that way it is a little bit more extensible. I like to start by creating a lib file. I'm going to do this inside of source here. I'm going to create a new file, lib.rs, and I'm going to create a pub struct, which I'm going to name server, which is going to be called from the main file and sort of have that handle running everything. And then we'll just have a little bit of error handling in main. So do a pub struct server. Now inside of this, I can use this almost like as a config. I'm going to throw that address and port in here so I can create that when we create this server. And then if we ever needed to like dynamically set what that address is, well, when we create the server, we can sort of overwrite that. Otherwise, we'd have essentially a default. At this point in time, we're not going to load anything from a config, so I'm just going to throw it all into the new function. But inside of here, what we care about is that address. So the address, we know it's an array of 4 items. It's 0 through 255 are our choices. So this is going to be a U8, and a hard-coded array of 4 U8s. And we're also going to have a port, and this is going to be a U16. All right, we're going to do an impl for our server, and we'll do a pub function new. We don't have any config items or anything else to take in, so I'm going to leave that empty, and we are going to return a self here. All right, let's sort of, we're going to hard code the address and port at this point. This is where we could override with defaults if we didn't have them passed in, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So address equals, and these are 127.0.0.1. And let our port, this will be that 3000 again. And then we're going to return it all in a self where we have our address and our port. Okay. Now it's just yelling at us that it's not being used, which is fine. Let's go back to main and sort of start using this here. So I can actually say, let our server equals server. I want to grab the server from hello world server here. And and we're going to do a new function. I realized that didn't actually grab it, did it? Let's add in the use here. So this is our hello world server. Great. Okay, so we have our server. Well, next up, sort of looking through what we have to move around here, we need a router. We need an app router, and this is all to sort of like make this entire run. So we have the ability to make a socket address. That's great. We need the router stuff. So I like to put routes in their own folder. So I'm going to create a new folder here. I'm going to call it routes. Inside of routes, I'm going to create two files, a mod.rs and a hello world.rs. I do like to give each route its own file. That way any like sort of corresponding types or anything else can sort of go inside of there. If I really need to, I can like create subfolders for like, groupings of routes. So maybe I have, a folder for user routes or folder for, book routes if we're making like, a bookstore of some kind. This way we can sort of like expand routes and sort of change that. But the general idea is like this is at its smallest. Now to use these two files, we need to tell Rust about it. So we need to go back to lib and we're going to set a mod here. So it does not need to be public because only, the library here needs to know about it. So mod routes and save that. And then we're going to go into the mod here and do a mod hello world and save that. Now Rust Analyzer should help us inside of all the files. If you forget to save or you forget to add these mod lines, Rust Analyzer will not help you. And if you run into that issue, stop immediately and like figure out that problem before you add too much code. Because Rust Analyzer not working is usually a sign that something is wrong. All right, let's create that hello world here. It's small enough we can just recreate it pretty easily. This is going to be a pub, so the function is accessible elsewhere. Async function hello world. We don't take anything in, and we return a static str. All right, hello world there. If we go back to mod, we can, I'd like to create this as just a public function that's going to return a new router. This does not need to be asynchronous. I know that there's like asynchronous code in like the route handler, but the create router itself doesn't need to be asynchronous. So we're going to do a pub function create router. Right now we don't have anything to pass in, so that's going to be empty, and we are going to return a new router from Axum router. Okay, Axum router new. We can add in our route here because we know about that already. I'm going to stay with slash, and then we want this to be a get, and the handler is going to be a hello. Now if I pull in this hello world like that, it's going to try to run that for me. So I'm just going to delete those parentheses, but it was nice enough to, give me the use statement. And then I'm not going to add in the semicolon, so that way I don't, I actually return the router. All right, so that gives us that. Back to our library file. In order to sort of get that router, I don't actually want the router as part of like the server here. I want to create that whenever we run the server. So we're going to create a new pub async. So this does need to be async. Run function run. Again, we don't, this one we do pass in something. This is going to be a self because we're going to probably create the server and then just run like a .run on it. So we're going to have a reference to self. Let's we're going to return something eventually, but let's not worry about error handling yet. Okay, so first thing we want this new router. So we're going to do a let app equals, we have our create router here, and that's it. We've created that router, and that has that route handler sort of set on it. Okay, that's good. We also need to set up that socket address. So let's do set address equals, is that socket adder from, we give it that tuple of self.address, self.ports, and then we can actually just run the thing, right? So we're gonna do Axum server. We're gonna bind a reference to this address. We're going to then serve the app into make service. We await you, and right now we're going to unwrap and semicolon you. All right, so we have pretty much everything in lib set up for us. So let's head back to main, and we can clean up this a little bit. So we have our server. I no longer need this app here. We no longer need this address, and we've just rewritten the Axum server bind. So we get rid of you, and we can now do server run. We do need to await this to make sure it runs as expected, but that's it. That's all we need to do. Let's go ahead and make sure everything is running as expected. So we're going to Control C, rerun you. And I don't actually need this shell, do I? Because we're going to use Thunder Client. So back to you. Let's hit a request again. And I had set this to be lowercase hello world, so I could tell, hey, everything's different. We're hitting from the new hello world function in the new architecture, which is great. We're almost done, but we're not quite there yet. Right now, we have an unwrap inside of lib.rs, and this is not the best. I prefer to have error handling as high level as possible and to have like some kind of custom error message to say, hey, something went wrong when something, well, does go wrong. But I don't want to put that all throughout the code. I want it pretty much as high as possible. So in this case, that's going to be in the main function. So we're going to want to return a result from this. But I don't want to just return any result, even though this does look like it's a fairly simple error here. It's a hyper error. I want to be able to handle any type of error. And to do that, I generally like to go pull a crate for this. So I personally prefer to use the error crate. Let's go take a look at that. But you can also use the anyhow crate. An error is pretty much a drop-in replacement for anyhow, so it's going to look exactly the same. So in this case, all I need to do is pull in error result, and then I can use that as a result inside of here. Note that there is only one error type, or one type that we have to pass in here, which is the, well, success return type. The error type is now going to be handled for us automatically behind the scenes. Let's head back to our code. And well, we need to pull in error, don't we? So let's do a cargo add error. I don't need to pull in any features with this. It should just work as expected. We are going to use the error results. And then that allows me to, for this run, we're going to return a result with, well, there's nothing really for us to return here. So I'm just going to return open and close parentheses, which is essentially just nothing, an empty tuple. And then, okay, so Axum server bind. We can now replace this unwrap with a question mark. It is yelling at me. It's saying, hey, we're attempting to return this result with this empty nothing. We're not doing that. So let's go ahead. If we get to this point, we're quitting the server. Everything's sort of shutting down. So let's go ahead and return that. All right, that makes you happy. Let's then head back to main. This is now going to be, upset at us because we're not handling this result coming out. So let's go ahead. We're going to match you. Can I get? Oh, I can get field match arms here. So if it's okay, I don't really care about what this is. So I just want to maybe have a message printed out to standard out saying, hey, we're done. Server has been shut down. So this is going to be a print line, server has, exited. And that's it. That's all I care about here. However, if there's an error, I want to know what this error is. So I want to display that to the screen. I want to display it to standard out if possible, because oftentimes if you're writing to standard out, you might set your server to, take all of standard out and append it to an error log file. Or maybe it will show up an error log file somewhere else, like wherever you're serving this. And then finally, I want to make sure it does not exit and convince the operating system that everything was okay. We want to make sure that it thinks that things were not right. Now in Linux systems, that means returning with a non-zero exit code. And what's nice is I can get both of those things done in the same line if I just use a panic. So we're just going to manually panic here. We're going to say server has exited with error. And I'm going to then print out what that error is. It's a little bit difficult to sort of force this error to show. We kind of have to trust that this is going to work as expected. But now we're handling the error, the result that's coming out, which means we should be able to rerun our server again. We get some warnings. We'll handle them in a minute. And let's go back to our Thunder client, and everything's working as expected. Okay, so we can still hit that. Great. I see that our warnings are all in this main RS file, so let's go ahead and handle those. If I go to my problems, all right, so unused imports, we're not using any of the routing or the router yet anymore, so I can just get rid of that entire line. I can do the same thing for this socket adder line. And this hello world function, we're not using that anymore, so get rid of you. And that's it. No more warnings in the entire system, which means we can go back to our terminal. Let's go ahead and Control-C and rerun you. And yes, no errors, no warnings. Everything's running as expected. And then one final request through Thunder Client. And yes, we still have our hello world displaying out. But now we have everything set up. So if I want to add new routes, I'm just going to add a new route folder into here. I'm going to mod that in to the routes mod. And then we can just add it into a route here. And I don't really need to change anywhere else unless I need some kind of state or something else to pass in. But this is a great starting place. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. All right, recording done. All right, let's see. What did I miss? Andrew, rewrite with better architecture for the M1? Yeah, exactly. We're gonna rewrite for CPU architecture. Wing Lover, hello, welcome. You just started a degree in game design. You were wondering what coding program we're using. So Andrew answered, I'm using Helix for, and you can take a look at it here. So these two, each of them have a Helix instance in them. And then I'm using Zellige as this sort of window management, so everything around it. And Jelly, cool video. Well, thank you for that. I've been getting better at like actually like talking through them, so I think that's good. So okay, before I forget, I need to go and rename that video, otherwise it'll just be the date, which is not helpful. So OBS recordings. This was call it Axum Hello World. Okay. And then let's see. Oh, okay. So the final thing, we have a few minutes left before it's ending time. Joe, you're starting your degree in 8 days. You can't wait to see what technologies you're going to use. Oh, that's going to be interesting. You should let us know what they have you use. My guess is not Rust. I don't think most universities are teaching Rust yet. I think a lot of them eventually did switch over and are teaching JavaScript. But if it's like computer science, you also get C and, you know, maybe Lisp and some many other things. So should be fun. Let's see. Okay, so I have a decently long cable for this camera. I'm going to go around back and set it up so you can maybe possibly see Zilby. And cat cam's off right now, so it's not going to like just immediately turn on. So I will be run back. Okay, so it's not a university degree, it's like a trade school, but for tech. Okay, so it's only 3 years. Oh, stacking, hello. You forgot Java. It's Java as far as the eye can see. I want to say that a lot of schools have switched away from Java as like the primary language, although it probably is still taught. And it's a trade school, right? So it might be Rust. Oh, sorry, it might be Java. Andrew, you had a Rust course at university, but it got canceled or something. Oh no, that would have been fun. Well, if they want to pay me, I can come and teach, but I have no like, you know, accreditations from universities, so can't help with that. Oh, I can turn off the timer for that too. Do timers disable. I know, it is sad. All right, I'm gonna go plug this in. Don't run away, Zilby. This is what I'm doing. Now the cable's not long enough. I might have to fix that later. Okay, maybe I can fix it. I think I have an extension. Look at that. All right, so the cable's barely long enough to fit over. I have the desktop over here, cat's over on the left. Let's see if I can re-enable this camera and it will be fine. Is it that one? Not that one. I'm trying to going through all the different cameras. None of them are showing. That's cool. What camera? I would think it's that, but I'm trying to like deactivate it and activate it again, and it's nothing, not showing. Okay, I wonder if I need to delete the. Okay, remove cat cam. Video capture device. Oh, it's like 0 size in like the top left. Oh, I'm worried that I'm gonna need to restart OBS for it to like see a new camera that got added. Let's see. Oh, you probably need to learn Russian first for that Rust course. Oh, okay. Well, I don't speak Russian, and I've tried learning other languages, and I've not been very successful at it, which is really sad and a very American thing to say, because I think like everywhere else in the world, everybody knows multiple languages and is taught that from an early age. But we're not really taught until like in high school, and then it's much harder. And so I know a little bit of Spanish, and that's it. Okay, if I give you one of these little twisty ties, are you gonna try to eat it? Don't eat it. I'm gonna take it away from you. You try to eat it. All right, so I have a USB extender, so I can try using this. No. No. Hold on. Gotta rescue the twisty tie. Okay. Zilby picked it up and ran off with it. So I'm gonna have to go rescue a twisty tie from him. It's after 8:45. My alarm just went off, so it's time for me to end the stream and head off to work anyways. So we're gonna go and deal with that. Let's see. I'm just gonna go ahead and do an emergency stream shutdown so I can go rescue Zilby from that thing so he doesn't eat it, and then, you know, bad things happen. So with that, I'll be back tomorrow morning at around 6 a.m. Mountain Time to continue on working on the course. So with that, have a great rest of your day, and see you next time. Bye.